Hey everybody, fall is finally here and I've got a few lures in this tackle box here that I want to show you that I think will increase your success when musky fishing during the cooler water periods. Come on, let's take a look. Fall is finally here. Now, all season we've been throwing bucktails and topwaters. Water temps have been in the 70s most of the summer, and just now they're dropping into the 60s. With the change in temperature comes a change in baits. Now, I typically like to throw bucktails all the way until water temps reach about 62 degrees. After 62 degrees, the fish start moving out of the shallow cover and start migrating towards those first break lines next to deep water, which calls for a different style of bait. Once that water temperature drops below 62 degrees, I make the switch. And two lures I rely on heavily are going to be crankbaits, like this 12-inch jake, and Bulldogs, one of my favorite lures, very versatile. Now, depending on the situation is going to depend on which one you throw. So we're going to dive in a little deeper into each of them. Let's start with the crankbait. Now in a crankbait situation, I'm looking at windy conditions, and fishing over rocks or very deep breaks. These lures are designed and work best when you're banging this lip into the cover, bouncing this off of rock piles, reefs, and deep diving along the edge. That's when these work the best for casting. You can also troll these and have these making contact with the cover as you go. Just remember to have your drag set right in case you do snag up. On windy days, the reason I like going with the crankbait is it produces more flash and wobble than, say, your Bulldog, okay? Where the Bulldog comes in handy are those flat, calm days. You know, maybe you had a cold front come through. Water temperatures are still cooling off that time of year, so cold fronts don't really affect the water temperatures as much, but the barometric pressure does. And it may make the fish a little more skittish and not so willing to bite. A Bulldog, especially these bigger sized ones, can be fished slow and methodically with long, dragging pulls, and that'll sometimes get them to bite. You can also work them in a jigging up fashion. You fish in a deep hole or near a deep hole, you let these sink down and then you rip them up towards the surface. That'll also sometimes initiate a bite. And in my experience, muskies don't follow Bulldogs. They either hit them and they hit them hard, or they don't hit them at all. So that's one nice thing about these. Say it's early fall and water temperatures are still hovering around that 62 degree range. You know, maybe they start off at 60 and they warm up to 64, depending on where you're fishing. And the fish might still be shallow. I will still fish bucktails, okay? And I'm going to fish big bucktails. Big bucktails with big blades, okay? For this right here. I love this green on green pattern, especially for fishing stained waters, okay? This will also work in clear, but stained waters, green is my go-to color. Also, don't forget, topwaters can still be very effective in fall. I love fishing a top raider, okay? Preferably black, right here, okay? Super top raiders as well. I don't have any of those in the boat with me right now, but this is a top raider, great topwater bait. As those water temperatures cool though, just keep in mind that that bite is going to shift from the shallow water out onto that first break line. Now, say the water temperatures are now dipping into the mid-50s, okay? That's when I like to start fishing suckers, okay? Sucker fishing is a great technique, especially for finicky biters. If maybe you're getting them following and say you're using, you know, something like a phantom softtail, good side-to-side action for that slow bite period. If you get a follow or you don't even see the fish but they're following deep down and you got a sucker hanging off the boat in say 10 feet, 12 feet of water, they're going to turn off this bait and they're going to follow that sucker, and they might just take that sucker for a ride. Another technique that a lot of fishermen fail to capitalize on in fall, on those bright sunny days, is downsizing. I know that sounds crazy. A lot of people think in fall, big baits, big fish. And you know what? That's absolutely true. But something you got to keep in mind is sometimes muskies just want something a little smaller to eat. So that's why I keep an assortment of crankbaits and bulldogs that are on the smaller side. So I'll have something like this Rapala here. Okay, we'll join the Rapala, you know, no more than 6 or 7 inches. Okay, and you fish that along the deep breaks, and that'll get the job done as well. Similarly, I also keep smaller bulldogs in the boat. Okay, I typically throw these in spring and early summer, but guess what? Size doesn't always matter when it comes to muskies. So if you're not getting anything on the big baits, downsize. Try it. See if you land a fish. Sometimes that's all it takes. It's just a quick upsize or downsize. One last thing about fall lures. There's a new one that came out on the market last year, early last year, I believe, and I just started fishing it this year. And it's the swimming dog. Okay, and the swimming dog comes in 2 sizes. I got 2 of them right here in the same hole. All right. Again, this goes back to that, you know, upsizing or downsizing. Let the fish tell you what they want. Okay, just because it's fall doesn't mean you got to be chucking this, you know, big old bait all day long. If you're not getting anything, downsize and try this bad boy. Now these are going to be fished a little bit faster. You can fish them like a traditional bulldog and give them jerks and pulls, but these, the best qualities about this is that they swim naturally and that this tail thumps through the water. This is good for fishing over the top of cover. They do get hung up quite a bit, so I wouldn't recommend fishing these around a lot of wood. But fishing over the tops of rocks or that dying cabbage that maybe you might be targeting that the fish were sitting in just a couple weeks ago, these are great lures for that. Keep in mind, fish headhunt these. The hook is set further to the front. Great design. However, if you are using a steel leader of some kind, these will get hung up frequently on that leader and completely distort the action of the lure. Make sure you check this hook after every cast. I threw a lot of information out at you guys, so if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask down in the comments section. I'll try to get to as many as I can. I love when people comment on my videos. It gives me feedback and allows me to interact with my viewers. If you like what you saw here today, please like and subscribe to the video. It's completely free and it helps me out tremendously and allows me to pump out more videos to you guys. I want to thank all you guys for watching and some of those new subscribers that have subscribed to this channel. I really appreciate it. With that being said, I've got a bunch of hiking videos coming up in the next 2 weeks or so. So stay tuned for that and make sure you guys get outside and enjoy the outdoors while you can. Winter's coming. Thanks for watching.